Welcome back to the Learn to Love You show. This is a show where we talk about domestic violence, abusive behaviors, and sexual assault. And we talk about how to understand, feel, recognize, and we try to educate the community on what it is. My name is Renita Hills. I am your host, and I'm also the founder and CEO of Voice of the Victim. Voice of the Victim is an organization that works with victims and survivors of domestic abuse, abusive behaviors, and sexual assault. Our goal, like I said, is to inform and to educate the community on what domestic violence and abusive behaviors are and sexual assault. We don't want anyone to feel like they're going through this alone. Our goal is to help people to transition from being a victim to a survivor and ultimately a thriver in spite of the abuse they've endured. We've been doing a series on safety planning. So let's just jump right in. We did part one, two, and three earlier, and now we're on part four, and we're going to talk about safety and drug or alcohol use. Before we get started, please know I am not your judge, jury, or your executioner. If you are using drugs and alcohol, that's something you have to look in the mirror and see and like about yourself. I will say this: drugs and alcohol inhibit you from thinking clearly, effectively, and thinking in a way that can bring safety to yourself and your children. When you're dealing with drugs and alcohol, if you are the person that is the user and you're an abused person and you are the user, it takes away your sharp wit. It takes away your ability to think quickly. It takes away your ability to make positive and good choices and safe choices. It slows you down. As much as you might think it enhances, it slows your thought pattern and your action down. It reduces your ability to make good, solid, positive choices. Good, solid, positive choices. It's an enhancer. And the thing about being high is no matter how high you are on that drug or that alcohol, at some point you got to come back down. And when you come back down, you're going to come back to the same problems and the same scenario that you had before you got high. And sometimes it could possibly be even worse, especially when you're dealing with domestic violence, abusive behaviors, and sexual assault. It inhabits making good choices. If you are a user, I do encourage and employ you to think about getting some help and some relief from being a user. If you're drinking alcohol, I implore you, I encourage you to get some help. Not just for your safety, because that is important. It is vitally important, but for the safety of everybody around you. If you are in an abusive relationship and you are using or you're drinking, please get help so you can make good choices. And other part of it, if you're drinking and using and have children in an abusive relationship, you want to get help before you leave. You don't want your abuser to say, I'm going to take the kids, because you know they're not going to let you have them anyway because you use or you get drunk and you get high all the time. You don't want to give your abuser the leverage to use the children against you. Do what you have to do to save the life of yourself and the children you love. If you're dealing with an abuser who uses or gets drunk, you have to think, and you have to think in a way that they might operate. It's really and truly a game of chess when you're dealing with an abuser who is drunk or high, because you don't really know what is really going to happen next. I suggest when you're doing that, have a plan. Like, that's what we're talking about, planning. My husband or my wife is drunk. My partner is drunk. They're high. What do I do to keep myself safe? One of the things you do is make sure you always have access to an exit. Always have access to an exit. Never run into a room that you cannot run out of. Running into the bathroom and locking the door behind you is not the safest way to go. Number one, he can break the door down, and now you're trapped in the bathroom. Never run into the kitchen. Sharp objects are there. That's where you store your knives. That's where you store your forks. That's where you store things that can be used as weapons against you. Always keep yourself between the abuser and the door. That way you can always get to the door. And even if you can't get to your car and get away, you can at least go down and hit the neighbor's doors or run to the next open door that you can find, open community. I tell people you go to the grocery store where there's as many people as possible and you find safe haven there until help can come. Never, ever, ever put yourself in a position where you can't get out. Never go to into a room that there's no door where you can get out. Always keep yourself between your abuser and the door. Keep yourself safe. Now we're going to talk about safety and emotional health. This is very, very important. Take time. Take time to take care of yourself. Even in the middle of the abuse, take time to take care of yourself. YouTube 5-minute meditations. While you're in the shower, you can meditate. While you're using the bathroom, meditate. You're cooking, and you can put yourself in another place where you're still aware of what's going around you, but you're getting yourself in a place where you can find your center. Sometimes we let life get us doing like this. I did this when I was working in the school system. Your life gets you like this, where you're just fluttering everywhere. When you meditate, it helps you to find your calm, helps you to find your center. It helps you to find where your peace is right there in the middle. Even in the midst of the storm, you have to find your center. Find a way to get yourself emotionally safe, even in the craziest situations. I wrote a story once about living in Georgia, and if you know anything about Georgia, tornadoes are going to hit. They're going to hit, and there's going to be destruction in everything that's in the path of that storm. But you know, the calmest part of a tornado is the eye. If you can get yourself to the eye of the storm, you can look straight up and see clear skies. Everything around you is spinning, it's turning, it's tossing. Everything around you is going crazy. But if you can get to your center and look up, you will find your peace. You'll find your calm. You'll find your place where you can find solitude within yourself. The Bible says, I will look to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Look up. Get to the center and look up. Meditation is a phenomenal way to get that done. We're going to go in the future, very, very, very near future, we're going to have some people that come on the show that's also going to talk about other ways to find your peace and to find your calm. We're going to talk about music therapy. We're going to talk about going to a therapist. Oh my gosh, go to a therapist. Get the counseling you need. Get the support you need. These people are trained to help work you through the storm and help you to find your calm. You got to find that place of peace in the middle of the mess. That's your safety. Go to the counselors. Go to therapists. They got art therapy, music therapy. We have working out. These are the things that we're going to be talking about in the very, very near future. But for now, let's worry about getting that meditation, finding that place where you can find some calm and peace in the midst of the storm. We're going to come back in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about something else. Actually, no, it ain't going to be a few minutes. Y'all going to see me on the next episode. I'll talk to you next time. Until next time, take care of you. Make sure you're safe. Make good choices. Make good decisions. And remember, you're fearfully and wonderfully made by the hands of God. And when he made you, he did not stamp everlast across your forehead or across your heart. He made you to be loved. Remember, beneath your skin and behind your eyes is an absolutely beautiful you. Learn to love you. Until next time, see you later.